Happy Monday, everybody. Sandro here one more time. Happy Monday. We are starting. Today is July 8th, and I am so excited to be here today to talk to you guys. Galit, good morning. Welcome. Welcome. I'm very excited today. I'm very excited, and I can't hide my excitement as I talk to you this morning, this Monday. Oh, let me sit here. Yes, this is perfect, like perfect angle. I love it. I love it. And drew me a little. I mean, this full looks like full. But have you ever wondered about the art of reading minds? I came across this book that's written by Henrik Fexeus, and this guy, he is a magician. He does like a lot of magic tricks and mental tricks, and he's an illusionist and entertainer. So I saw his show on YouTube, and then I was like, oh man, this guy's a genius. Because when you watch these things and you go back and you go back and you can't figure it out, and then I see myself searching for things that could tell me what he was actually doing. I couldn't find. Like the guy is a genius, genius. And then as I'm looking for information, then I found his book. And I got his book. It's like, oh, okay, this is a great book. I want to read the book. And I read the book and I thought, oh, how amazing opportunity to talk on Monday about his book. And this is what we are going to talk about today. So, welcome if you're watching me on Zoom. It's great to have you here. You can also watch me right now on Facebook. And after the call ends, then I will upload the video to my YouTube channel, and we keep going with my commitment to every Monday be able to be here and share some of my insights, some of my learnings, some of the things that I am going through to learn and to grow. And so then I hope we grow together, right? This is a book that is on the category of self growth and negotiation, and why not? But okay, let's get into it because this is exciting. And the first thing that I want to ask you, have you ever wished to know what someone is thinking even before they say a word? Like, have you ever wondered how interesting it would be if we could actually read people's minds? Well, if you haven't, I have. And this is something that I remember watching a movie one day. I can't recall exactly what was the movie, but in this movie, the guy, oh, wow, yes, it was a movie by, I believe, Jim Carrey, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I can remember the actor, but I remember the movie. God gave this guy the ability to hear everybody's minds, and he was like going crazy. But it was a very interesting sight because yes, if I had this ability to read and to listen to people's minds, I probably would go bonkers, which like okay, I'm not gonna go there. But reading this book gave me some of the insights that I want to share with you guys today. And the idea is to share some of these things that I learned, that talk about some of the techniques that we can learn to build rapport, how to interpret nonverbal cues and keys to influence others and influence people's thoughts and actions, and how to convey your intentions known verbally. And of course, I'm going to talk about some key points. And some of the key points, you're talking about mind reading, which is not a mystery. There's actually some techniques for it, the power of the mind, and how to establishing rapport. The senses that we have will shape our perceptions, and body language. There's another big one. And then, of course, some of the things that this guy on this book he talks about using some magic tricks to look cool in public. Now, I am somebody very expressive, like extremely expressive, and at times, this past weekend, my youngest Harley, he just turned 6, and I was just watching him because I had some people that came, some of his little friends, and then his Oma and Opa came over as well. It was a great time, right? But I remember looking at him, and his Oma, she tricked him and she said, "Oh, I am here and I didn't bring you any gifts." And his face, like he made a face that I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is me." Like I can see myself in my little kid. It was kind of creepy for a moment because at times I'm not saying a word, but like I don't need to say. My face shows it all. And now I've been trying to practice the ability of communicate without using those crazy expressions because I can't help. It's like literally people talk to me and then my face goes like, what? Or I make those crazy faces. But anyways, reading this book, like oh my goodness, I laughed so bad. Like because so many things and some great insights, right? But let's get into it. And hopefully I'll be able to also learn from the things that I've learned through the book and I'll be able to share some of these ideas with you guys today. All right? Okay. Mind reading is not a mystery. Okay. How fun would be to get into people's minds and understand their thoughts and their emotions? Take a moment and picture yourself with this ability. What would you use for? How would your relationships get better because of it? How would you be able to crush it in your professional goals? If you are anything like most people, you probably fantasized about mind reading, or you also thought about, oh my goodness, at some point I could try to do this. And I actually know some people that they call themselves mentalists. And I'm like, okay, but is this actually a thing? And then you eventually just give up, right? But think about this. Glancing at the clock or at the door often means that someone wishes to exit the situation. And I was thinking about that. Of course, through the challenges and trials and tribulations and everything in between that comes on our way. I remember when I was in law school back in Brazil, we had one teacher that would, well, that was a criminology that I was studying. And some of the lessons, the professor would talk about look into somebody's face and just by the way that they look, like if they're looking this way, if they're looking this way, or to kind of understand if they're lying or if they're telling the truth or if they're visiting the memory. Oh my goodness. And I remember at the time we had a book about it and I should revisit because going through this is basically a summary when you think about if you're going through a challenge or in a situation that is uncomfortable. And then if you look at the clock or if you look at the door, it's like, okay, what did happen this weekend? I was in a conversation this weekend, yesterday actually, I was in a conversation um, with someone. And then I caught myself a couple times looking to my clock. And I'm like, okay, why am I looking to the clock? So of course I read the book and then this immediately came to my mind. It's like, why am I looking to the clock? And then I realized that, well, it's because I had something else coming up and I want to just make sure that I had enough time to keep the conversation going. But many times I am looking to the clock just because in my mind is going, oh my goodness, is the conversation ending? Or like, oh wow, this is getting long. But then it's more than that. When I am the one yapping and yapping and yapping, and the person looks to the door, to the exit, or to the clock. Okay. So be more aware that, hey, I probably should shush, right? And just let the people talk as well and ask more questions. And why not? Now, are you ready to understand the power of mind? I think and I hope you are, because mind reading is not just about understanding, but it's also about influencing people without them noticing. And guess what? You do it already, almost every day without realizing. Think about this, that sometimes you are good at, but not always. Have you had such an experience like this? You are talking to a friend who is sharing a difficult experience, and you notice their tone is subdued and they avoid eye contact. Immediately, something tells you they're feeling sad or embarrassed about the situation. That's mind reading right there. So with enough practice, you become more aware and get better at it. Again, oh my goodness. Have you been in a conversation where the person sharing something, and they just want to vent. That's it. They just want to vent. But immediately in your mind, you start going to a place where you try to find a suggestion or a solution. Like I suck at it. Like I am that person that somebody's just sharing something, they just want to say, just to vent. They don't want an opinion. They don't want a suggestion. But I can't help. And say, well, but how about this? How about that? And try to go to that place. But mind reading is not about being psych or guessing what somebody else is thinking. It's not about expecting others to know what you want without saying it. It's not about projecting your thoughts into somebody else's and hope that they're going to respond. As a matter of fact, it's not about giving cues that for you they are logical and make sense, and then the other individual is not getting these cues, and you get frustrated because the person cannot get. Now, on the positive side, the kind of mind reading that is truly transformative and effective involves paying close attention to the trivial things and noticing how people react and what their body language says. Again, phenomenal book that is challenging me. So if you want to check it out on your own and read the whole book, it's called The Power of Mind Reading. Like I love the book because even in my relationships with my family members, with friends, with clients, a lot of times, and I labeled myself as I am like a big thinker kind of person. I'm a big vision type of individual. I think about the great big things and I think about the abstract things. And I'm sorry, the little details, and I can't pay attention to the little details and things like that, right? Like that's the one thing that I usually say. And here is the thing, you gotta pay attention to the little things. You gotta pay attention to the little things. Yes. So Karen is asking me here, who is the author? Let me just get back to here to my notes because I'm gonna get the author's name for you in a minute. Let me just get to my notes to see if I put that somewhere here. 1 second, Karen. I'm gonna get that for you. Yeah. Well, how about this? Stay with me to the end, and then they'll be able to get because I missed, and I want to get the full name for you, okay? As I'm going through my notes and you're chatting here. Again, I was thinking about one of my relationships. And of course, with my parents, I was down to Florida last week or the week before, I guess, for my sister's wedding. It was an amazing time. And again, like I'm just, okay, just think about the big things and these big, great conversations. And my mom talking about those little things and little details, and my mind just whoop. But then again, I should have had. I wish I came across this book when I was traveling down because I'd have a even more uh, deep experience and like a better experience. But you know what I mean? When you think about these interactions that we have, and either you are somebody that is attention to detail oriented, or you are like label here, or a big thinker kind of individual. If you want to really master the ability of understand how the other person reacts, I would really encourage you to master the art of understanding that every thought somebody entertains will affect the body somehow. And that's it. You will see in the body language, in the eye movement, and hear in their tone. So, wow, the way that they move, like, are they crossing their arms or not? Are they feeling more relaxed? Are they moving their eyes in a certain direction or not making eye contact? How is the voice? And this idea goes all the way back to a guy that was called Descartes. And he got it all wrong when he said that our minds and bodies are separate. Thanks to people like Portuguese neuroscientist Antonio Damasio, the modern science has shown that is not the case. Human thoughts and physical reactions are all part of the same package. It's interesting that I'm so grateful that I also had a call on Saturday with a great new friend, and she was telling me And if I can name you, you just give me a thumbs up if I can, you know, tell the world who you are. But anyways, I was talking to her, and she said, Sandro, I need to tell you this because I had an opportunity to interact with you in a one-on-one capacity, and you had such a great energy. But then when I was watching some of your videos, it's like, oh my goodness, this is not the same guy. So are you able to just try to bring the same energy and the same enthusiasm when you are on your videos? It's like, yeah, this is a very interesting point because right now, even though I feel like I'm talking to a lot of people, the reality is that at this moment, I'm talking to the camera, right? I can't see you on the other side. And I was really struck by that. It's like, thank you very much for such a great feedback. Because, yeah, sometimes, and I'm not going to lie, there are times that I come here and I just don't want it. I'm not in the mood. But then why do I come anyways? Because I made a commitment to myself first that I will try to every Monday morning at 7 a.m. come here and talk to the camera and talk to you. Maybe this message will hit somebody in the other end of the globe. Like, I don't know. And Karen Wilson, if you guys haven't connected Karen, look her up. She's on Facebook as well. Karen is this brilliant mind. She's an artist and big goals. And in our conversations, I was like challenging her like hard. And what I loved about that interaction, that she came right back at me and also challenged me. And I'm like, okay, I take and accept the challenge. So thank you, Karen, for the great challenge. Now, guys, we're going back to the whole conversation about the mind reading, right? The human thoughts and the physical reactions, they tell the whole story. So monitor eye contact to understand what is the confidence, to understand the attraction, or possibly deceit. Huh? Have you tried? Think about somebody that you like, somebody that you really, really like, and try to make a eye contact without saying a word and just staring at that person. If that exercise hasn't been like spoken, hey, I'm going to look at you, I'm going to stare at you for a minute or two, then the person, and I see that with my kids, we try to do this little game. Let's see who blinks first loses. But I have tried, and I tried when I'm talking to some individuals, I just listening and I look right into the eye and I literally do this and I stare. And two things happen. Usually the person you like turn the eye away and then like a little snort. It's like, why are you staring at me? Because it's uncomfortable. So why should we bother with all of this? It's simple. Understanding other individuals will better help us to connect with them, to improve our relationships, and even make more of what you're doing, to make our daily lives more exciting and more effective. You don't need to manipulate, you need to control others. Reading minds about empathy and communication. When did your communication with someone you love broke? Now, you got to understand that the mind and the body, they are connected. It is time to pay more attention to this link when relating to someone. And Henry Fexeus, oh yes, okay, Henrik. Karen, I'm gonna type here somewhere. I'm gonna type actually on Facebook. The author is Henry on the comments. Henrik Fexeus. I just got here. But okay, it's right there on the comments on the bot on the boot or on the chat of Facebook. And I'm gonna actually put this on Zoom. So for you guys that are listening to me on Zoom, I'm just getting my camera back here and my chat, and I'm gonna put that right there. Chat, chat, chat. Okay. Boom, boom. Is the book there? Shines down. All right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Okay. To get the person you're talking to into the emotional state you're asking for, you have to exemplify it and show what you mean. To get the person you're talking to into the emotional state you're asking for, You have to exemplify it and show what that means. Start by establishing rapport. Rapport is connecting with someone easily and naturally, allowing conversations to flow effortlessly. Think of the bridge of trust and understanding. It's essential for making friends and getting your message across effectively. When you have rapport with someone, okay, and they're genuinely receptive to what you say, will make that communication like a breeze. Whether trying to convince your kids to help or out, or you are pitching an excellent idea work, or you're pitching an investor, being in tune with the other person makes all the difference. I have one friend, and this friend is a phenomenal business individual. Like, he is running business in different continents, and he always traveling. And I keep asking him, when are you going to start doing these conversations and these trips and these important meetings over Zoom? Like, the technology is here. You have Zoom, you have Google Meet, you have WhatsApp. There's so many tools. And he said, well, the type of negotiations that I am having, the type of conversations that I'm having, I want to be able to have the full experience, to watch the eyes, to watch the body, to watch the reactions and the voice. And this can only be done if you are in person. Of course, technology is changing significantly, and I believe you come a time that you're going to just put a glasses and then be able to connect with somebody somewhere else and still be able to experience all of this. But to this day, he was saying, I haven't seen, and for me, that handshake to read the room is interesting. Now, we are always building up good vibes or knocking them down with the people around us. The cool part is that once you get a hand on how it works, you can be like a rapport wizard, making good vibes happen even with people you wouldn't usually click with. With proper practice, you will see yourself being able to get along with basically just about anyone. Keep an eye on foot or finger tapping, and it can reveal impatience or anxiety. And then Danusia, thank you. Danusia's in the house. I miss you, Danusia. We got to connect soon. And she's saying, yes, you also should trust your intuition. I agree with you. Now, imagine you be or you train to become a very intuitive person. And on top of becoming a very intuitive person, you also understand the body language, the eye movement, and the tone of voice. Oh my goodness. What are the things that you'll be able to accomplish? What are the connections you will be able to make? The tricks you will pick up from building rapport, such as noticing a person's mood or what they're saying without words, are mind reading tricks. They serve as your toolkit for understanding what is happening in a person's head. As many of you guys know, I also do public speaking. And one of the challenges that I have, which like I've been mastering it, when I'm going to do a speaking engagement, I make my bullet points of the things that I want to talk about. And very often, I change the conversation because I am speaking and I'm watching my audience, right? And then one thing that is very interesting for me is like, as I am talking and I'm looking to the body language, okay, is the person putting this, or the people is like doing this, or looking this, or one thing that kills me when they're talking to somebody like, and roll their eyes. It's just, I want to die. Like it's, but then as I'm in the stage and I'm talking, I always try to find that one person or two individuals or three that are getting what I'm saying, are engaged. So then from that point on, even though I keep doing the scanning on the room, my conversations or my eye contact goes to that person because I'm there and I wanted that little affirmation, right? Like, we need that affirmation. I need that. And then I basically continue to speak. And at times, I had a situation where I was speaking an engagement and like people, they're like cold. Poof, everybody just looking at me. And in my mind, okay, two things are happening here. Either my message is coming across so powerfully that people are just sucking in, or I suck and I'm unable to connect. So then the one thing that I did, it's like, okay, guys, let me ask you, does it make sense? Can I hear a nod or a thumbs up or something? Nothing. It's like, okay, are they tapping their foot, or are they doing finger tapping, or Are they looking to the door? Right? And all this, okay, to be very transparent, at the time, that didn't like I didn't get that because I mean I was just reading this book this weekend. It's like, oh my goodness, so many times I could be more attentive to these things. And those are things that I've learned when I was at university, but I forgot so many years ago. But how about mastering this art? How about getting this toolkit where you have the intuition, you have body language, you have the eye movement, and you have the tone of voice as a tools to understand who are you talking to. It's like including your body language. So you gotta adjust, right? You adjust your body language, the tonality of your voice, the tempo of your speech, and even your choice of words to match the other person's style. Another thing you can do is to encourage the other person to talk about themselves. You can achieve this by asking open-ended questions or expressing genuine interest in their thoughts and feelings while you practice all of this. Remember that rapport building is an ongoing process. It doesn't always happen instantly or just like magic, but it begins with the first interaction and you will develop and deepens over time through continued engagement and responsiveness to other individuals as you practice and you understand these different styles of conversations and preferences and tonality and why not. So how do you use your body language to create rapport? To put it simply, you start mimicking the other individual. This is like so many of the sales trainings that I've done talk about this. You literally, if somebody's talking to you and they go back, you go back. If they step forward, you step forward. Like that mimicking will create that environment of trust that you build your rapport, because then the next step you start sensing and your senses they will start shaping the perception. It's fascinating to me how everything we do or we remember or we even imagine is closely linked to what we see, to what we hear, to what we touch, to what we taste or smell. If you imagine holding, peeling, and biting into a juicy orange, your body reacts just as if you are eating it. Like, just imagine. And you see that orange, juicy. Ah, yes, we're going to have the reaction. Your mouth waters, doesn't it? This experiment shows how the brain sometimes can't distinguish between real and imagined things. Oh my goodness, like, ah, something like this. Okay? When you focus on the problem, that's what multiplies. When you focus on the solutions, that's what you're going to find. So our brain, if we can distinguish sometimes from what we are seeing and what is real in our imagining, how about using this trick and this strategy to then create the future that you want? One of the easiest ways, and then of course we're talking about mind reading, but one of the easiest ways to create to predict the future is to create it. And I was doing an exercise last night, my call that I was having, and like some of things that came up to me made me really sad, and I was like sad and just the sky we have, like oh look to the sky, look to the earth. I was in a damn mood. But then immediately when I was having that conversation, and my friend was just giving it and giving it good with no filter and that rough tough love that I needed at that moment. Then I immediately said, okay, let me try something. Take a deep breath and then smile. And then do this. Ha, 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 ha. I was doing this, and then of course my kid comes like, "Are you okay? This is like crazy." It's like, no, I am practicing it. Like I'm changing my entire mood of my body and my mind just by smiling to the mirror and I mean putting the smile and laughing. Like now, of course, going to the exercise, and then you also can think, okay, if somebody start blinking too frequently, what is happening? Well, it might means or suggest that they are not comfortable or stressed. When thinking, we use our senses in two ways: recalling past sensory experiences, like reliving a vacation, or creating new ones, like imagining walking on a beach you never visited before. In both ways, your senses deeply influence your thoughts and physical reactions. Interestingly, we all have a dominant sense or a way that we prefer to experience the world. Some people are more visual and they need to see things to understand, and etc. Other individuals, they're more like listeners. While some need to touch or feel things, knowing which sense someone leans towards can help you to connect and communicate with them better. However, a person's preferred sense can change depending on the situation. Your best bet comes not from matching someone's primary sense, but from paying closer attention to their non-verbal communication, the nonverbal cues. For example, take note of the good old facial expression and tone of voice. Learning something, okay, how can I get deeper in this process? How can I actually master this art of understanding tone of voice, eye movements, and body language and intuition to get deeper in my connections? So, if someone is trying to remember something they saw, they might look to the left and pay attention. Try do a test. Ask somebody a question about the past. Like, I don't know, where did you go 2 weekends ago? So the author suggests that the person is like, well, 2 weekends ago, looking to the left. But if they're creating a new image in their head, they almost always look to the right. And it's not just about creating the new image in their minds. If they're lying, this also happens. It's like they're looking to the left or looking to the right. This eye movement pattern can change from people to from person to person, but a neat way to guess how these individuals processing their thoughts is understanding. Okay, most of the times they're looking to the left, or most of the time they're looking to the right. Like that might help you to get these cues and get things. Okay, let me just get my friend Shai here. Okay, one quick second. Stop. All right, all right. Yes, we are back. All right. This eye movement pattern, looking to the left, I'm trying to remember. Looking to the right, I'm trying to create or fabricate an idea. Did you know that in 2020, a study analyzed over 6 million YouTube videos from across the globe? And the researcher found that people in different cultures use similar facial expressions in similar social contexts that will support the idea that emotional expressions are universal. I love this. And then, of course, body language can sell out a lie. When people try to hide the truth, especially about things that matter to them, they give off little hints without meaning to. These hints show up when someone cares about a lie. They're all in to the point that they believe in their own lie and will make their whole body language do things they can't control. For example, assume you're talking and someone's words are saying one thing, but their gesture or the way they won't look to you in the eyes tell a different story. That's the cue. Your job is not to call them out, but to pay attention and see if you can catch more of these subtle signs. And there are so many different gestures that the author of this book suggests. For example, when somebody's lying, are they covering the mouth? Are they scratching the nose? Are they adjusting the glasses? Are they tugging at the ear robe? Are they looking away? Now, let's talk about romantic relationships and flirting. People tend to lie or hide that they like someone. People have many reasons for not wanting to show that they are into a person. But there's a few signs to look out for. Some clues: the pupils are dilated. It's a subconscious reaction intended to gather more visual information about what the person finds appealing. Body posture, touching. Ah, as you think about these things, right? And not just in romantic, you're trying to connect with somebody or trying to get somebody, but if you're already in a relationship, try to take these little cues to connect with your loved one. You influence people daily with simple things like a smile or a hello. But there are more ways, like how you dress, how you move, how you talk when you're in silence, when you send those silent messages to those around you. Those signs can improve somebody's mood, make them feel closer to you, or be a reason they don't want to speak with you. It pays to observe and adjust accordingly. Now, hands behind the back often shows confidence or contemplation. Oh, have you ever been in a place where you have a little child crying and will not stop crying and is uncomfortable? And imagine that scene. You're on the airplane trying to sleep, and there's a child crying. You turn up the sound of your music, but you can hear that little voice coming through. And I was talking to a friend, and she is a obstetrician, and she was telling me that she's into this study to understand the children or the babies' cries. And she came up with this whole concept that if they're crying a certain way, it means different things. So they're talking about the cry. But then I said, but when we have a child, like a child around, like a little child, that is smiles, it's like you say hi, it's like, and giggles. Immediately, it changes our mood, or at least mine. It's like, oh, oh, that's so cute. So think about this. There are little children can influence our mood. And they're just little children. How about then mastering these fundamental tricks where you're going to give somebody an option for things to think about, and then you guess by watching their eye movement, and you're going to provide, so we provide options for image and sound and feeling, and then use this to interpret. Like, what are the visual thoughts? What are the audible thoughts? What are the kinesthetic thoughts, which is the person looks down to the right. It typically means they're processing feeling or physical sensation, on the internal dialogue, which looking down to the left, which is like that internal dialogue or self-talk. Look for hand to neck gestures, as this can suggest discomfort or insecurities. And another fun trick, and I made some notes here about the fun trick. When we want to find somebody's hiding something, ask the individual to hide an object in one of their hands while keeping both hands behind the back. Then you tell them to press their hand with the object against their temple, ensuring you're not watching during the process. Once they signal and they've been ready and have lowered their hand, face them. Pretend to engage in mind reading, but actually you're observing their hands for a subtle cue. The hand that was pressed against the temple will appear slightly paler due to the restrictive blood flow. This difference reveals which hand holds the object. Even if I'm black, like me, and I'm doing this, and now I release. Yes, this one here, I lost a little blood stream here. So you can do it as well. And wait for the color normalize before revealing the guess. Now, for my black friends, let's try this with the more pale folks. If you are practicing, starting this practice, because it make better in your favor. Now, guys, mind reading is not a mythical process, but rather it's a skill rooted in keen observation and understanding of human behavior. Let's then master the art of understand human behavior, perceiving unconscious cues in the body language, facial expressions, and vocal tones will help you to understand unspoken communications. We might be concerned about a future where everyone can read minds. Well, people, they do constant analysis and they try to understand and how can you get into the social dynamics. But the reality is, if you master these techniques, you will have smooth interactions, fewer conflicts, and a more enjoyable life. So try this. Observe how people will rapport mirror their body language. Try to identify healthy relationships based on these skills. Practice the image, the sound, the emotion, magic tricks on your friends. And then just try, practice and practice and practice. And the more you practice, more improvement you make. And then you start getting the guessing right. And use this either you are in sales or you are in client support or entrepreneur, or if you need to make a relationship with your loved one better, try these tricks. And I will try many of those. I'm going to read this book again because I love the book to get more details. I encourage you to read about these things. And guys, I hope with these, I am having some tools that will help you to navigate through this week. And I really wish that you have a phenomenal week. Stay blessed by the best. And guys, I see you guys next Monday at 7 a.m., same place. Let's go. And here, let me try to practice some more.